I'm gonna put two prints, my Highway 21 and my Flaming Forward prints, into the art show that my friend Patrick has organized over in Evergreen on Thursday. And what I have to do is make some mats and then shrink wrap them, and that's, I want to I guess do a little instructional video showing how to work on mats and stuff like that. So what I have to do is I have to measure. When I do to do the mats and the backing board, I have to get the outside dimensions that's of the mat board, and then I figure out the mat widths later. The way I do that is I take my tape measure and I say to myself, I'll do 4-inch mats. So 4 and 4 is 8, and if I'm doing 4-inch mats, I put my thumb here at the 8, and then I lay it on the print, and I give it like a 1/2-inch border around the image, so that comes to 19.5 crossways. But I need a pencil to write it down with, so let me get a pencil here. All right, what did I say? 19.5. Highway 21, 19.5 by, now vertically, where the signature is at the bottom, traditionally you would have a little bit wider mat at the bottom, plus the border around the image at the bottom is a little wider to accommodate the writing where I put the signature and all. So I go with, if I'm going to do 1/2 inch more at the bottom, so it'll be 8, start with 8.5 on the up and down part. So I go 8.5, the total mat widths, and then to bring it down to below the signature, I'll go with 23. So it's 19.5 by 23. Just make sure that again. 4 and 4 is 8. Extra at the bottom is 8.5. Give it a 1/2 inch space around the image, and a little bit more down here, so 23. All right, so the outside board is going to be 19.5 by 23, and I'll do the same thing for this one. Sideways, the sideways part is going to be 8 inches. That's 23 and 1/8. 23 and 1/8. And then vertically, where the signature is, I'll go 8.5 plus a 1/2 inch border plus so that'll be 19. 23 and 1/8 by 19, and that'll give me a 4-inch mat around, except at the bottom it'll be 4.5. So now I just lay these aside somewhere so they stay clean, and put them over here. Hopefully Frida won't jump up there and lay down on them and go to sleep. So what I do now is I've got my boards. I've got a piece of white, gallery white mat board, and I have to cut 2 pieces out of it. And I've got the backing. It's a foam core. It's a light foam core board for backing, and I have to cut 2 pieces out of that. So that's what I'm going to do next. Well, as I said, I got my supervisor here now. Frida's right here watching me. So what I'm going to do now is cut my boards down. They come from the store 32 by 40. They're typically 32 by 40 inches. If you have really big mats, they do come in 40 by 60, but 32/40 is the normal size. So I'll lay this aside for now, and I'll cut my two backing pieces. This is the 40-inch. The 40-inch dimension is the side I'll take the pieces from, the narrow dimension from. So one is 19 and a half and one is 19. So I'm going to measure 19 and a half this way, 19 and a half, and then 19 and a half, draw me a little line just as a guide here. And then this is my heavy. This is heavy. Got some heft to it, so I'm gonna lay it down here to use as my cutting edge, my cutting guide. And this requires a sharp blade, so I will get a new blade. It's a new single edge razor blade. I got a package of them over there. They're wrapped with a paper, cardboard, and if I can manage to not cut myself and bleed all over the place, I have this sharp razor blade. I line up my heavy guide, and I just go down the edge manually. So, took 3 strokes. All right, I'll save that piece for later. So I got a piece that is, now I got 19 and a half. So the one that has the 19 and a half small side has 23. So the long side is going to be 23. So let me measure 23 here. 23. And I'm not going to do that marking step. I'll just put my heavy guide on here, and it's short enough cut that I can hold it down with my left hand without worrying about it slipping. Hopefully. So okay, there's one piece for the Highway 21. That's the backing board. And now the other backing board is 19. That don't help none having that right there in my way. So let's go 19. Mark it with my pencil. And cut it with my blade. Some people prefer to use a utility knife. It's a little safer because you got a handle. All right. This is extra piece. So I got it a 19 And then the long dimension was 23 1/8. So let's do this one, 23 1/8. All right, that's my second backing piece. And this is extra. And I'll get my mat board. It's a gallery white. This 32 by 40 piece of gallery white mat board at Hobby Lobby cost $11.99. $12. And that backing board was like $8. So I'm going to do this exactly the same thing on this that I did on the backing board. I cut two pieces to size, and no need to record that, but that's what I'm going to do using the very same tools. And the only difference is the cardboard has a harder material, so it takes a little more careful holding and cutting, so I don't slip because I'm putting more pressure on the blade. Now this next part, it requires the use of a special piece of equipment which I've acquired many years ago from a friend that was in the picture framing business. This is an old Keaton mat cutter. Weighs a ton, and it's about 5 or 10 generations away from the most current mat cutting device on the market. This thing really weighs a lot. This bar is solid metal. It has a blade at the end that operates on this slide to make sure it cuts nice and straight. And what I do is I take my mat board. First of all, I want to make sure I'm cutting the wider margin at the bottom of the right piece. So let me measure this again. The Highway 21 is vertical, so the bottom is going to be on the vertical side. So I will I'll put a W here for our bottom. I'll put B for bottom, and it's 4.5 width. The others are 4. Now wait a minute though, let me make sure I got the right one here. This is Highway 21 is I didn't measure it. This is the 19.5 width. That's the Highway 21, which is vertical. So the bottom will be 4.5. The other 3 sides will be 4. This one is just the opposite. It has the 19-inch narrow width. And so this will be the bottom, and it will be 4.5. So just as a note when I'm working on this is the back side. The front, this is gallery white. I don't want to do any writing or marking on the front. So what I'm going to do is normally a mat cutter like this will have a guide and have measuring devices on the mat cutter where you set it up, and it's already got your guide on there for sliding your mat board in, and it'll give you the right border. But it's old. It has a guide, but it's really obsolete. I don't like to use it. I would rather measure my widths by hand. So what I'm going to do is measure. Here's the bottom, so it's going to be 4.5. I will measure. Here's the bottom. So the bottom is going to be 4.5. So I'll measure. Now you guys watching this that I used to work with in the picture framing business, you're going to be laughing and scoffing at me doing this, but I've gotten away from picture framing pretty much, except a few mats like this that I do for my own prints. So don't laugh. 4.5 on the bottom. 4.5 over here. And I will just quickly draw my line at the 4.5 mark. Now the thing about a mat cutter like this, it cuts the mat on a nice bevel. The bar is made, and the head is made to cut it on a nice bevel. And so that's the 4.5. The other sides are 4, so I'll measure 4. 4. 4. And do my tentative marks. These marks I use also when I'm cutting. They provide me with a visual guide for cutting the hole in that. And I will here. Now, I've got them all marked. What I want to do is, for a final check, this is a safety check, to make sure I have all my measurements right. So I will measure, this is for the flaming forward image. So I'm going to measure my hole here. The hole is 10.5 by 15 1/8. So let me grab my print here. 10.5 by 15 1/8. So I'll quickly measure the flaming forward image. Ten and a half. That's right. What was that other one? 15 1/8. 15 1/8. There we go. That one works. So I'm safe to cut that one. All right. So what I'm going to do to cut it is I need a pad down there first. A piece of old mat board to go under it. So when I, ooh, wow! I've got my camera sitting onto my pile of mat boards. I can't mess with the camera here. It's in the middle of filming. So let me grab a piece of this.